Alright, hey guys, so this video is one that I've been meaning to do for a while, but I haven't really had the time to do it. I want to do a complete all-inclusive tutorial on every single aspect of the SMT algorithm, all the different scripts, how you can use them, how it allows you to, if you just want really simplified trading, just price action with a couple arrows, you can do that. So I allow the simplest format all the way up to more complex configurations if you're a trader who likes a lot more confluence and you can handle a lot more, I guess you can call it noise or things happening on your chart, and you are able to distinguish the high quality signals and things like that a little bit better than somebody who's just starting out, right? So I'm going to go through all of that. I'm going to show you how to use TradingView, some frequently asked questions, some frequently encountered issues, things like that. So first, let's start off, like if you go ahead, we do have a nice little website here. So I developed this nice website that goes through a lot of the different scripts. So all of my scripts are now on the site, and if you click on any of them, it'll take you straight to the TradingView page. So that's really cool. But there is just a direct link to buy if you want there. So you just click on buy now. It'll take you to the page here where you can purchase it, and I do say please allow up to 24 hours to receive the order, because it can sometimes take a little bit of time for me to get to that, because I do work a full-time job, things like that, and I have to manually add you to every single indicator as it currently stands. So anyway, once you get those added, you'll receive like a notification here on this bell, and it will say that I have added you to private scripts. So now what you want to do, you want to open up your TradingView. Right now I just have a 5-minute SPY chart. And then if you go into your indicators here at the top left, click on that, and then go to invite only scripts, and then you will see all of them will pop up here. So you're going to have, as it currently stands, 19 scripts. I know it's a lot, but you probably will only use a couple of these. Most of them are just key levels for various different tickers, so don't let it overwhelm you. And I will kind of start with the most simplest configuration and build my way up to the most complex configuration, and I will timestamp these in the video so that you can always go back and find the topic that you're interested in. So the first thing we're going to discuss, now that we've got how to actually sign up for the indicator, is we're going to talk about adding an indicator to your chart. So the first thing I want to do, we're going to start with the most basic, is key levels. So you'll notice at the bottom right here, there's like this little auto. If you toggle on this auto scale, anytime you add a script that has built-in levels, it's going to kind of mess with the chart and completely compress the chart if you have auto enabled. And I'll show you what I mean. So if we go to indicators, we're just going to add SPY key levels. You're going to see the chart's going to compress like this, right? So this is pretty ugly. There is a way you can easily fix this. Number one is just don't have this auto thing enabled when you add indicators, but at the same time you can also just, if you hover over on the price on the right hand side here and you just click, you're going to left click and hold, you can simply just drag and expand the chart to look like normal, just like that. And if we just go ahead and, if we have that toggled off, you see auto is now disabled. Now if we just add the levels, we're not going to have any issues. So I just keep it off, and I can adjust it based on my own desire. So this right here is SPY key levels. So this is simply just a script that plots 54 key levels all along price that are determined based on daily resistances and supports, as well as hourly and 5-minute pivot points. So this right here is from today. These levels were scripted in weeks ago, and look how well they're still holding up. I mean, this is pretty cool. So you can see we rejected this level, made our way down to the next one. We kept trying to break through this level, which turned from support turned resistance multiple times, and then you can see once we broke back through this level on some strength here in volume, we continued all the way to this next level, pulled back, found some consolidation, some support here on that level, and then blasted off to the next one. And you can see these levels, we had a little double bottom off this level. You can see here, support on this level, made it to the next one, pulled back on a level very similar to this pullback here, right? Pull back, find support, and then make a move to the next level. Again, pull back, find support, make a move to the next level. So these are really cool. I always have these on, and this is the most simple script. It's just key levels, and you can do this for a multitude of different charts. And let's see here. What you can do is, if you just switch to different charts, you can enable those, switch to different tickers, you can just throw that on there. So a very commonly asked question is, I want to save a specific configuration for the stock I trade, because if I add, like, we don't want to add SPY, and let's do SPY and QQQ. I don't want to overlap these on the same chart, because now I'm going to get all these different levels that overlap and I don't know how to distinguish them. And if I switch to QQQ, I want to like get rid of SPY and whatever, all of that is kind of a hassle. You don't need to do that. So I'm going to teach you, most people know this already, but some have been asking me how to just save configurations for a stock. So let's say I'm trading SPY. So I put on my SPY key levels. I put on, that's the only one I talked about. So then I just maybe can go up here in the top right hand corner and I can save my layout. And then it's unnamed here, and so I'm going to click on rename, and I'm just going to name this SPY key levels. I think I already have one. I'll put it underscore, right? And then I can make a separate chart just for QQQ, right? So now I go to QQQ, and I can put on QQQ levels. So I go to my indicators, I go to QQQ key levels, which is right here. I throw that on my chart, and let me just expand it. I forgot to turn off that auto. It looks like it's enabled by default. Okay. Q levels look pretty nice as well. So we have that, and now we can just rename this and save it as QQQ Q levels. And so what this does is whenever you save this configuration, like if I want to trade SPY, right, and I also want to go to QQQ, I can simply tab over to QQQ and everything's loaded. I can even exit out of this. Here I'm trading SPY. If I just click on this at the top right hand corner, recently used, boom, I switch to my QQQ level, and every single indicator is saved for that configuration. So that's what I like to do. I usually have them at the tab at the top over here with their different tabs open. But yeah, so that's a really good way to just save configurations for different tickers, so you don't have to keep playing with indicator settings, adding them, removing them. That's just not efficient. So let's go back to SPY key levels, and there we go. So that's the simplest form. I'm just going to show you all the key levels so you can get an idea of what they look like. So we're going to start from SPY. So let's go ahead and open up the indicators here. So I've shown you SPY. Now let's go to Tesla. So I'm just going to switch to Tesla. And then let's look at Tesla key levels. There it is. So this is the Tesla key levels chart. Got some levels we can look at here. And let me just go to the 15-minute chart because the levels might be a bit clearer to see. There we go. So we have that. I'm just going to hide them to make things quicker. So there's Tesla key levels. Now let's look at SPX key levels. Switch to SPX. Look at that. Very clean levels on SPX. And then I'm just gonna, you can always hide indicators, which is really nice. Just click this little hide button at the top there. So let's hide that. And then let's take a look at, we already did QQQ. Let's look at NVIDIA key levels. So let's switch to NVIDIA. And I believe, yeah, so NVIDIA has broken out of the key level range, so I need to add some additional key levels, but back before, this is what these levels look like. They're still valid, very nice key levels. So there's NVIDIA. And let's look at NQ. If you trade futures, that is the NASDAQ derivative of futures, just like ES is for the S&P. So there we are. Those are key levels for NQ. Well respected levels here. Look at that perfect bullish hammer off that, and then a double bottom reversal there. So that's NQ. Let's get rid of these, and then we'll move on to the next one. So next up is Meta. Throw Meta key levels on there. Switch to Meta. Okay, let it load. Again, Meta has been on a tear, so it completely broke out of the key levels we had plotted here, so this one does need to be updated, which is a good thing I did this so I can add some more levels there. But you can see how well these levels have been looking on the 15-minute chart. So those will get updated, very nice. And then let's go to the next one. Google key levels. Now I do plan on automating these levels at some point. That's probably the next thing on my list after a couple of other items. But let's go to Google key levels. I already added that. Let's go to the Google chart. Those are the key levels for Google. Oh, these have been looking really nice. Wow. Okay. And now let's do yes. I trade this one all the time. There is ES key levels. Very clean. And then we have, nobody uses that. Let's look at coin. I can keep ES on there because those prices will never align with coin. So here we go. There's coin. And then I believe Amazon is our last one here. So let's get Amazon on there, and then I will show you the script for the Amazon key levels. So there we go. And there it is. So those are all the key level scripts. You get every single one of those, and those really comprise of like, 10 out of those 18 scripts or whatever. So that is the most basic script. Now let me go to the next script here, which is simply an unusual volume alert script. So the unusual volume alert script is a very basic script in its kind of, I guess, the whole basis of the script is we're just looking at potential volume increases from candle to candle. So on the next candle, if we double up in volume, you can set a configuration for an alert as well as an actual little pop-up on your screen and a push notification, whatever you want. So if we go to indicators, we go to unusual volume alert, click on that and enable that, and you can see these arrows are always going to be on the bottom, and they're just going to be color coded based on the it doesn't mean buy, it just is showing you that that candle has an increase in volume, and if it's a sell candle it'll be red, and if it's a buy candle it'll be green. So how can you use this? Well, right now it's set to alert me if there's 2x volume. So if we go into our settings here, I keep it as the market hours of, I'm on Eastern time, so 9:30 to 16, so that's 9:30 to 4 p.m. Those are our market hours. So I like to know when we have more than 2x increase in volume. So that's what I keep it on. So what's nice is, well, I would actually recommend you do probably 9:35, because that gets rid of this. Obviously the first candle of the day will have huge volume relative to pre-market, so we can get rid of that. So what, what does this tell you? So right here you can see that we had an increase in volume, but we were just consolidating, not really a big deal there. Now you can see you would have gotten some nice alerts towards the end of day that would have let you know that we're getting some volatility. So we did get this nice sell-off. You may have gotten this alert on this candle. You see this tweezer bottom forming, you see we have volume coming in, and then we start to rise here, and then this nice bullish engulfing candle, which had some signals we'll explain later, would have given you a volume alert, and you could have seen that that was a nice bullish candle that also engulfing candle that also broke out from this resistance here, and so you could have rode that continuation to whatever price target you had. So that's pretty cool. Now the way that you can configure alerts is if you go on the right hand side here, you click on this alert icon. I'm going to get rid of these because I was just using them to trade earlier. I like to set level alerts, so for chopping in a range, if we break past that range I get an alert. So you're going to click on this alarm icon, and then you can select the volume alert, and then you can do, it's just volume alert, and then you would do once per bar, and then you can just type in whatever the name is. So that can be like SPY 2x volume, right? So type in SPY 2x volume, and then in this threshold option, just replace that with 2, and just hit OK. And then under notifications, notify an app, show pop-up, and place down on the desktop. And then I just hit create, and then you will see here it is. So anytime the SPY 5-minute chart, the next candle has more than 2x the volume, I will get an alert on my phone, my PC, everything. And I can even change this to, I have 1.5x up to see how it gives me way more. I can do 3x. There's no 3x here, maybe a 2.5x. There we go. So if you set it just to 2.5, you would have gotten notified on this huge run up. So you can kind of play around with the settings and adjust that accordingly. So let me turn that off. So that is another very basic script. Now let's get into if you're just looking to trade and use buy and sell signals on the time frame you're currently looking at. This is the most basic form of the SMT indicator. This was the original development, and this is the next script that I want to talk about. If you go to your invite only scripts and you go to the legacy SMT indicator and you just click on that. So you're going to see really quick, you'll notice a few things, right? You're going to know that you have a few EMAs that will get plotted. So you're going to get your 21 EMA, your 9 EMA, and your 5 EMA, and your 200 EMA. You can enable and disable these as you choose, and then you can also change the color as you see fit. So in its most basic form, this was the initial development of the SMT indicator. I did add a couple things, like you can define your trading hours here for alerts, but you can see this is very basic. We are on the 2-minute chart, or the 5-minute chart, so I'm going to get 5-minute alerts. So this is a 5-minute buy alert right here. And if I am on the 2-minute chart, I'm going to get 2-minute alerts. If I am on the 30-minute chart, I will get 30-minute alerts, and etc. 65-minute chart, I will get 65-minute alerts. So it just adjusts to your time frame, and it's very simple. If you just want these arrows just to show you where potential momentum shifts are on your respective time frame, you don't want all the other time frames to display, this is just all you want, that's great, you can have that. And if you want to simplify your trading even more, what you can do is you can simply disable everything and just have your candles up, right? We can go to the 5-minute chart or the 2-minute, and you have the SMT indicator, right? And now you want to throw on the SPY key levels, because we like to have supports and resistances as we're trading SPY. And we just talked about unusual volume alert. You can throw that on there as well. You don't need to, but let's say you put the unusual volume alert and you put that on that 2x threshold. So you're looking at your chart, and now you see something pretty interesting. And there's not a lot of noise here. It's just, up and down arrows and price action. You see a buy indicator on a close above a key level, on a break of a resistance, and on a volume alert. And yeah, I mean, like, that's a really good setup in itself. So you can hop in here. You can look to take profit at the next key level, which you're given there, or you can take a look here and you can see that we have maybe like a resistance level there, or right there, which is on the next candle. So there's a lot you can do there, but this is a very simple form of the SMT indicator if you are only concerned with the time frame that you're currently trading. So there it is, buy and sell signals. So you can save that as its own configuration, whatever you want to do. So I did want to discuss that. Now, how do we set alerts on the legacy SMT indicator? So if we go here on the alerts and we click add alert just like before, it's going to add the alert relative to the time frame you're on. So if we're on the 2-minute time frame, this is going to be an alert for any buy and sell signals on the 2-minute time frame, and it's going to change with whatever time frame you go to. Click on SMT indicator. You can choose buy or sell signal. If I want alerts when we get buy signals, I click on that once per bar. I can make it like SPY 5-minute buy signal triggered. The notifications will default to what we want here, and then we hit create. And now anytime we get a trigger on the this is 2 minutes, sorry, I misspoke, but anytime we get an alert on the 2-minute time frame, we're going to get all those notifications, and it's going to alert us anytime that happens. And if you see here, it tells you the time frame where the alert was set. If you just hover over it, you can see here SPY 2-minute. Let's rename this to actually make sense here. Let's make this 2-minute buy. So we have the SPY 2-minute buy. It's active. You can always pause it, you can play it, you can go to the settings and change things, but it will always alert you for that time frame. And if we change to a different time frame, we're now setting alerts for that time frame signals. So that is the legacy SMT indicator. Very nice if you are pretty simple. You just want these arrows and these alerts, and you don't want to clutter, quote unquote clutter, your chart in any way. So now let's go ahead, right click and remove all our indicators, and then I'm going to remove all of our drawings here, and then we'll talk about the other indicators. Like I said, we're starting simple and we're kind of building on top of that. So if you are maybe like prefer the simple trading of just the normal SMT indicator, you can do that. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, you can go to the legacy SMT indicator as we talked about before. So let's go to the legacy SMT indicator. We'll throw on our SPY key levels. Now, if you want to add additional supports and resistances, right, you can go to the SMT additional SPY fibs. So this will add more supports and resistances that you can use in your trading. You can actually see that this was another area where we pulled back this fib resistance. You'll see the fibs are used elsewhere as well. Like right here. Bounce off these fib levels, found support off this fib level, pulled back to this fib level. So these are just giving you additional levels on your chart that you can use to scalp, to buy and sell, and then to give you price targets as well. So that is something else you can add, and if you want to get a little bit more in depth on this, you want to add some more to your chart, but you still want to keep the legacy SMT indicator, you can go to SMT supply and demand zones. So let's throw that on there as well. Now look at that. So now we're getting even more data that can help us trade on our chart. So the nice thing about this is you can see we consolidated here, we pulled back, we found support on the zone. So that was a good place if you were short. You can now take your profits, and if you want to catch a bounce, you can hop in here. You can see we consolidate between these zones. We can't get past this zone. We pull back to this zone right here. Now the great part is this is actually where we found support for this huge rally. So the good thing is you see this sell signal, you can hop in, get out at this zone, and then you see this buy signal. Now you can hop in, get out of this zone. Once we close above this zone, and then you can continue holding until you get to these things right here. Now let me show you something. These zones are all labeled. So it says supply and demand. Now we all know supply is resistance. So if the price is underneath a zone, it's automatically supply relative to price. If it's below the zone, that is demand relative to price. Now these are labeled based on where they originated. So 3 days prior supply, if we go back 3 days, that was a supply zone for that day. And now it can act as demand if it is below price, or supply if it is above price. And it'll do this for the last 5 days. Now if I want more zones, I can go into my settings. So I go into my drop down, go to my indicator settings, and then I can actually add some more zones for more confluence. I can add up to 10 days worth of zones or 20 zones. Now how does this affect our chart? So this gives us even more clarity, right? So now we may have wondered, we pulled back here, but we never pulled back all the way to the bottom of this zone. Why is that? Well, we had a zone right here. So we pulled back to this zone, found support on this zone above it, and then we made our way up here to this zone, pulled back. And then, yeah, so this just gives you more clarity on where price is going. And if we kind of look back at previous days, you'll see the same thing. These are nice supports and resistances that we can use to trade. So there's that. So now your chart is a little bit more complex. What do we have? We have key levels, we have fib levels, we have the SMT indicator, the legacy one, and we have our supply and demand zones. So this is another way to use the indicator. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out the indicators again. And now that I've showed you that, I want to show you the 13 and 48 EMA version of the SMT indicator. So if you prefer to use the 13 and 48 EMAs on the 2-minute chart, this is the version of the SMT indicator that you can use. So this one is a bit more complex. The other SMT indicator was the legacy, so we don't have the additional features that I'm going to show you here. So with the 1348 SMT indicator, the SMT Swing indicator, and the regular SMT indicator, those are all the newest versions of the SMT indicator. So they're going to have a lot more features that I want to discuss here. So you can see that the 1348 EMA will give you different signals than the other EMAs. That makes sense, right? So before we're using the 9 and the 21 EMA were a piece of the kind of the equation for signals. And here we're using 13 and 48 EMAs. And so you can see we had a crossover here with a couple other conditions. So the 2-minute buy signal fired. Now it's not just a crossover, because you'll see we didn't get a signal here. This downside crossover wasn't, it didn't have the criteria, so we didn't get that, but the upside crossover did. And so you can see that this is a good place to enter. We get this nice engulfing candle, and then we hover for a little bit. Now the nice thing is about this newer one is we can have multiple time frames displaying their relative signals on our current time frame. So if we're on the 2-minute time frame and we receive a 5-minute buy signal on the 5-minute time frame, we don't have to switch time frames, we don't have to switch charts, we don't have to make a bunch of different windows. It's going to display that alert here. Now the way the alert works is when the 5-minute signal triggers on the 5-minute chart, it will not plot until the candle closes on the 5-minute chart. It won't plot on the 2-minute chart. So this will only give you signals that have already validated on that time frame. So you're not getting open-ended signals plotted on your 2-minute time frame. So this is a good one. And then you can hop in and just kind of ride the 13 EMA, but the 13 EMA I think, let me see if it holds, kind of. But anyway, that's just for people who like the 1348 EMA. I don't personally use it, but it is a very popular strategy. So some additional features that this contains is if we go into our settings, you will see that we have VWAP settings. I don't mess with those. You have a chop filter, so you can enable and disable this. So let's go ahead and enable it. It'll likely get rid of all these signals. So it got rid of that signal up there. It's not as tight on the 1348. I think we have to mess with it. These these default values were created for the 9 and the 21, but you can play with it. If you increase the length, you'll see that we get a tighter chop filter. We lose some signals, and that was actually a good signal we lost. So you just kind of have to play around with it. I have not messed with settings on the 1348 EMA, but I'll show you the chop filter settings on the 921, which are a lot more refined at this point. So that's the 1348 EMA SMT indicator. Actually, some nice cell signals up here. This 30-minute cell was a pretty clean cell. It actually caught the top of this intraday reversal here. So you can see 30-minute cell. We pulled back, 15-minute cell here below. We got a red candle, and then once we closed above the 13 EMA, that was a good spot to get out. You can see that's a big reversal candle, and then we continue and close past high of day. So another thing you'll see on the top right-hand corner is we have this indicator dashboard, if you will. So it kind of allows you to see market trend. So you can see on this this time frame here on this dashboard at the current time, we have the 3, the 2, and the 5, and the 10 are all firing buy signals. So this is a very short term, or we can tell that on the short term we have very strong bullish momentum, but we can see on the larger time frames we have not shifted yet. We haven't gotten that bullish momentum shift on the higher time frames. So it's really good to see that. You can see short term you have the buy power on your side, so if you want to scalp you can do that, but if you're holding longer out expiries or you're looking for a swing trade, you want to wait for these to turn green. So you can adjust your settings. If you go here, down here you can change the trading hours just like the other indicator, but you can show or hide any of the time frames you want, and if you look on the chart here, they'll be removed. So if I only want to show the 3, the 2, and the 5, because those are great for scalping, I can hide everything else, and only the 3, the 2, and the 5 will show, and they're like, hey, I see that my favorite time frames are all firing buy indicators, buy signals. This gives me a momentum, the bullish momentum confluence that I need. So that's pretty cool. And you can also, I have some support and resistance labels, as you can see. So you can see right here, this is automatically plotted support and resistance that tracks price, and you can enable and disable that as well if you choose. So you can scroll down and uncheck show dynamic support and resistance labels, and that will go away. Now looking at style, style is where you get all your plots. So if I don't want these EMAs, I can just get rid of them, just like that, right? And I can change their color. And if I don't want any of the higher time frame signals, I can also do that. If I just want the 3, 2, and the 5, I can get rid of everything else. It'll get off of my chart, as you can see, and I can just do that. And now look at that, we just have a very clean chart with just price action and signals, and then key levels. See that? And then we can also do the same thing for the key levels that are plotted here. So you have daily high, you have all these key levels that get plotted. You can enable and disable those at will. So let's turn them all off, except for pre-market low. Now you'll see the labels actually stay. So you can get rid of those labels by going into your settings, scrolling down, and then unchecking labels. There you go. So that is some of the functionality of the 1348 SMT indicator. I'm going to show you the SMT indicator that I use all the time, which is the 9 and 21 EMA SMT indicator. But first let me actually show you the swing indicator. So let's remove all indicators. And if you go into your scripts, we have the SMT Swing indicator. So let's get that on our chart. Now the swing indicator is a little different. It only has higher time frames built in because inherently it's a swing indicator, and it uses SMAs instead of EMAs, and we use the higher level SMAs. So the most effective way that I've noticed is using this on the 65-minute time frame, because we care about swings on larger scale time frames. And we want to disable the extended hours. I like to disable them on my chart when I use this, but you can also simply just have the trading hours filtered out. So you can see here, let me make things easier, turn off regular hours. So you can see that now we're getting signals that are swing signals. So you can see 65-minute buy. Now each of these candles is a little over an hour, so you can hop in on the 65-minute buy above the 200 SMA. Then you got a nice move up. And then something I want to clarify is you always want to disable lower time frame signals than the one you're currently displaying. So if I'm on the 65-minute time frame, I don't want to show the 30-minute time frame, and I'll explain this to you. So the way that we gather data for the indicator and the way we gather all these multiple time frame data is we're using a request.security function within TradingView. That function inherently will pull higher time frame data with no issue, but when you try to pull lower time frame data and display it on a higher time frame, there's this issue of discontinuity, and that causes some inconsistencies in pulling lower time frame data. So if I'm on the 65-minute, I only want to pull 65-minute and above signals. If I'm on the 5-minute time frame, I only want to pull 5-minute and above time frames, meaning I don't want to display 2- and 3-minute time frames on my 5-minute chart. So this is just a little bit of the swing indicator, a 65-minute buy here. So yeah, obviously this is not going to work every time, and this has some really good buy and sell signals in the past. This is a nice rally here. I know notably it did really well identifying. It's really good with BABA. Like you can see, it identified this rally at the bottom here before this huge run up on BABA, and then you even gave this little sell signal here that dropped a little bit there. And then I think I was looking at it on Bitcoin as well. Let's look at Binance. So we look at Bitcoin, you can see that it actually caught the rally on Bitcoin, pulled back to the 200 SMA in huge rally. It also caught this nice little dump, this little run up, caught this run up. So that's pretty good for Bitcoin actually. Oh wow. That was pretty nice actually. It's very good for Bitcoin. So that's the SMT Swing indicator. So you can set alerts the same exact way. You just kind of hit add there and then go to swing indicator, and then you can choose the time frame. Now this is important. If I'm setting these time frame signals, right, on these newer SMT indicators, so I'm on the 65-minute chart, I can't be setting buy and sell alerts for like the 1-day chart and the 30-minute chart. Set these alerts just like the legacy indicator. You set the alert that is on your respective time frame. If I'm on the 65-minute time frame, I'm going to set up 65-minute alerts. If I want alerts for other time frames, I can switch those time frames. I can switch to the 30-minute. Then I can set my alert for the 30-minute alert, right? And then I can save it, and then I can switch back. But when you make the alerts initially, make sure you make them on the time frame that you are currently on. This is very important. So let's switch back to SPY, and let me clear all of my indicators, and then let me go to my settings and turn on extended hours. Another thing I want to make a note of is if you want the most accuracy on the indicator, it's very sensitive to data. So I recommend, I think you need a TradingView Pro Plus subscription, but I recommend getting that because it allows you to get real-time data on indices. They kind of trick you into making you think if you have a Pro or Pro Plus plan or even Premium that you do have real-time data for all indices and all securities. You don't. So if you want true real-time data for the NASDAQ, NYSE, ARCA, you would have to purchase that for $3 a month, which I think is worth it because it does refine your signals to be more accurate, especially if you're trading 0DTE options. You want the most accurate signals and data. So here we are. Now we're on the SPY 5-minute chart. Now let me show you everything that I use. This is kind of, if we're looking at levels of advancement, we've gone through all of the other indicators. We've gone from the most basic level and we're building all the way up to the highest, most complex level. This is, if you know what you're doing, you know, you can view things, you can view signals as like noise, and you can filter them out yourself. Everything that you're looking at, you understand, and you can use it as additional confluence. So this, I've been trading for going on 4 years now, and I've been scalping SPY for almost a year, every single day, like all day. So I like to have a ton of stuff on my chart because I can easily distinguish what I care about on my chart and what I can filter out, but that does take experience. So this is how I trade, and I'm going to show you guys the most high level or most complex variation of using the SMT indicator. So I'm going to throw on the SMT indicator. I'm going to throw on SPY key levels. I'm going to throw on SMT additional SPY fibs, and I'm going to throw on SMT supply and demand zones. So those are the 4 scripts that I use every single day when I trade. You can already see here, you get a lot of stuff on your chart. That's fine. I've learned to you know, from looking at this for so long, distinguish what I want to see and what I don't want to see. So in terms of the SMT indicator settings, if I'm on the 5-minute chart, like I said, I don't want to display lower time frames. So I'm going to uncheck the 3 and the 2, and then I'm going to uncheck the 3 and the 2, because I don't want to display them if they're lower. And then I'm not really concerned with the 5 EMA right now, but everything else looks good. So this is what I like to trade. So let's see, what do I have? I have my supply and demand zones right here. Personally, I like to have as many as possible because I can distinguish which ones I want. For today, I wanted to have all 10 of them on because this gives me the most. We were chopping a lot. When we're chopping a lot, I like to know what price could potentially do. I have all my zones, and you can see I also have my EMAs, my 5, my 9, my 21, my 200, as well as VWAP. So I like to have all of those there, and I have my supply and demand zones in red and green. I have my key levels here, and that's what I like to have on my chart. This is my setup. I like to have all of these things, and I like to enable alerts for the 2-minute and the 5-minute. And occasionally I'll throw the 3-minute. Honestly, the 2-minute and the 5-minute are like all I need to trade. So if I am on the 5-minute chart, because I don't have 2-minute signals displayed, if I get a notification on my phone like, ooh, 2-minute alert, what do? I switch to my 2-minute chart really quickly and I take a look. Right? And then on the 2-minute chart, obviously, you want 2-minute signals on, right? So usually I'll have it like, you can do double tabs. I don't know if you guys know this. If you click on this right here, you can have a second tab open just like that. So you can actually have like the 2-minute here, right? This is super cool. And then on the right hand side, you can have the 5-minute open. Now you have two open next to each other. So now I have my 5-minute chart and I have my 2-minute chart. So if I get I get a 2-minute buy alert here, right? So then I look at where that aligns on the 2-minute chart or the 5-minute chart. This buy alert was above the 21 EMA. I really liked it, and it was like essentially crossing over. So it lines up on the 5-minute chart. We get that nice confirmation, and then we get all of these additional buy signals to help keep us confident in our entry and let us know that trend is maintaining. And that, so here 5-minute is saying that momentum has shifted to the upside on the 5-minute chart. Now 10-minute momentum has shifted to the upside. Now 15-minute, now 30 minutes. So now as we're holding, we're seeing that momentum on higher time frames is shifting to the bullish side, which is confirming our bias here on the 2-minute and the 5-minute. And then here, what's nice, right, I get this sell signal right there. On the 2-minute chart, this 2-minute sell signal looks really good, and we get a bear flag. And then I look at my 5-minute chart. So where is this lining up on the 5-minute chart? Well, look at that. On the 5-minute chart, we are also closed below the 21 and the 9 EMA as well as the zone. So this looks really good on the 5-minute as well. So I entered puts here, and I took this down to the next supply zone. So there's so many ways that you can use this. This is kind of my, if we look at it, how do I trade every day? This is my setup right here. This is how I do it. It's a little bit difficult if you're not used to having a bunch of stuff on your screen, but I have my 5-minute and I have my 2-minute, and I just look at them and I assess my situation. I look at my zones, I look at my levels, I look at all that, and then I trade based on that. So I hope I answered a lot of the questions people had. I think I should have answered most, if not all of them. When I post this, just feel free to leave a question or a response in, under this post, or YouTube or Twitter, wherever I post it, and I will timestamp everything so that you can go back and then you can kind of look in that video to see if something you're curious about has been answered. So I guess I could also show you guys an indicator that I made on accident. I was messing around with the settings on supply and demand zones, and I made this indicator, which I will demonstrate. Let's clear everything off the chart. Let's get a choppy day, because this is really cool for choppy days. Yeah, like right here. So if I add this indicator I'm working on, I'm just calling it I have so many here. Oh, this live supply and demand zones is what I call it. So if I do a play-by-play, I have it so it kind of draws these automatic zones that track price. So now this is, as price pushes past that zone, it reforms, but you keep the other level until price pushes past it again. So look at that. So it's kind of causes this supply zone here to form. So now you have the support down here, and then you can see that this supply zone was formed here. We tapped it here, and then we're rejecting it here, and then we break out, and then that resistance moves up with price, and then that support tracks price as well. So now you can see that's something I might get pushed out once I refine it a little bit more. It's pretty cool. Kind of tracks price and then gives you like nice like support here. And what's nice is if you like the support, you can just draw a line there, and then eventually it'll move past it, but you still have that support on your chart. So anyway, I digress. But yeah, so that's a video, and hopefully it's useful for you guys. Thanks.